Hey guys, I am back. It has been a very busy couple of weeks, but I'm back with another video and I'm experimenting with a few new things. I have a new light, as you can see. The lighting is different, so I'm just experimenting, see what I can do to improve. Yeah, anyway, in this video, I want to talk about something that I was thinking about because I've noticed that when you travel to other countries, you're going to have a culture clash. There are going to be things that the other culture may say or do that you may find offensive, and there may be things that you do that the other culture may find offensive. So, speaking from an American perspective, I want to share some of the things that Spanish people have said to me that, or I've seen, that to them is completely normal. But to me, I found it a little offensive. All right, so before I get started, I just want to say that a lot of these things I no longer find offensive after being integrated into Spanish culture and learning Spanish and understanding how, these nuances work. But when I first heard them, yeah, I was a little offended. Not by all of them, but some of them. And some of them I was like, I didn't know if I should be offended or complimented or what. So let's just get into the video. All right, so the first thing that I would say Americans we would find offensive, but here it's completely normal, is calling people fat. All right? Now, this is not a fat shaming situation or anything like that. But when I started to learn Spanish, and I've said this in other videos in the past, but I've noticed that people will tell their significant other or their family fat. Now, in Spanish, fat means gordo or gorda if you're a female. And I've noticed this. And I said, like, my partner will call his mom gorda. And I'm like, you just called your mom fat. Like, this is something that we don't do. And I have friends that are in relationships and they call each other fat, or sometimes they'll change the letters. They'll say gordi, or just gorda or gordo or something like this. But it's a term of endearment. I know it's kind of strange, but I made it clear that this will not fly in the United States. You can't go around calling your loved ones fat. But if you are American and you come to Spain and let's say you fall in love or whatever with a Spanish person, they may call you this. But if it bothers you, just let them know, hey, it bothers me, and normally they'll understand. But it is something that I had to get used to. Other things that I've heard, for example, body parts. Okay, that sounds strange. Calling someone, for example, okay, I'll just give you an example. Let's say you meet someone with ears, ears that are larger than normal. In Spanish, ears means orejas. Well, when you're talking about the outside of the ear. And people will say, hola, orejas, ¿cómo estás? And it's strange because, when you see people with large ears, you don't say, hey, ears, how's it going? But this is something that if you have body parts that are unusual, they may call you by this. And the other person never gets offended. Other things, ugly, all right? In Spanish, ugly means feo or fea if you are a woman. And friends call each other ugly all the time. Now, when I first heard this, one of my good friends, she would say, oh, hola feo. And at first I was offended, And then I learned that it was normal and she really didn't think I was ugly. So but it was strange. And I've heard this with many other people. But having said that, you have to really listen to the tone of voice, the intonation, because that will tell you, if it's an insult or if it's just a term of endearment. Other things that you may find strange or offensive is that if you are a foreigner, they, I don't even know how to explain this. You're normally called by stereotypes. For example, in Spain, there is a very big Indian population. Lots of people from India come here, so you find lots of Indian restaurants. But people say Hindu. They'll say, "Oh, let's eat Hindu food" or something like this. And I'm thinking, how do you know they're Hindu? I mean, because India has a big population and there are Buddhists, there are Christians, there are people that practice Islam. So, yes, but probably the majority, they do practice Hinduism. But to just say like Hindu for everybody, I think I said, I would feel more comfortable just saying Indian because anyone from India is Indian. So I know that I won't offend anyone. But this is normal here, and the Indian population don't seem to take offense to it. Um, there was a video, a YouTube video that I watched of someone from, I think she was Korean. She was Korean and she moved to Spain, and she was talking about the things that she didn't like. And she said one of the things was everyone calls her Chinese, and she's not Chinese. And I noticed that too. Whenever I see an Asian person here, because there are lots of Asians, yes, there are a lot of Chinese people, but Spanish people will just call them Chino. Chino means Asian. Chino means Chinese in Spanish, and they would call them Chino. And I'm thinking, how do you know that they're Chinese? And another thing is that there are a lot of souvenir shops in Spain that are owned by Asian people, and everyone calls them the restaurant, or the store, sorry, the store, they'll call it Chino. Oh, let's go to the Chino. And I had one Spanish friend, he lives in Barcelona, and he actually felt that this was pretty racist. But it's so widespread in Spain, and the Asian population doesn't seem to have any issues with these because, to be fair, the majority of these stores are owned by Chinese people, to be fair. I would say out of the Asian populations here, Chinese is the biggest. So maybe that's where this comes from. I don't know, but for me, I always feel I would be disrespecting people if I just assume they were something that they're not instead of just, asking them, you know? Maybe it's because my best friend is Chinese and we've been best friends for so many years that we're like brothers, and maybe that's why I'm more conscious. I have no idea. The next thing is for black people, and I actually had to talk to a lot of different black people to get an answer on this. Um, for example, the word negro. Negro means black. Okay, it means the color black. It could refer to a black person. Living in Spain, you're speaking Spanish, so if you need to describe yourself in Spanish and you're black, you're going to say negro, right? I didn't know that there were black people that don't like this word. They find it offensive. Now, if I was in the United States and someone said negro, but how we used to be called negro, which is exactly the same spelling, then I would be offended because we know where that comes from. You know what I mean? It has baggage to it, and we know exactly the origin, and the fact that they're American, they know better. But in Spain, you're speaking another language. So for me, I never had a problem with it. But I've been in places where people were afraid when they saw me. They were afraid to even use it to describe furniture, and I was like, what? So they would use moreno, which is really a tan person, someone that anyone, doesn't matter what their race is tan, they would be called moreno. But now some people use it to describe black people or anyone of darker skin because it's more polite. And so after talking to a lot of black people from many parts of the world that speak Spanish, the majority of people that I've noticed that are offended by this are Afro-Latinos from South America or Africans. But most of the African Americans that I spoke with didn't have an issue with this once they learned Spanish and integrated into some sort of Spanish culture like me. The only word that I did have offense to was mulatto, and mulatto is someone that's mixed with black and white. And when I was in Madrid, there was a man that referred to me as mulatto when we were talking about my family. And I know that we don't use this in the United States anymore. And so I questioned what he was trying to say with this. And then I find out that it is a normal term used in Spain for someone that's mixed with black and white. It's a normal term. It's not anything out of the ordinary. It's not anything racist, but I had to remember that I am in another culture. So I had to learn this. Um, I would say another thing that I found offensive was cabron, which could be referred to as asshole. Wait, can I say asshole on YouTube? I don't, can I? But when your family or friends refer to you as cabron, it's normally a term of endearment. My friends say it to me and it's no problem, but I had to learn this because at first I was like, I just learned this word. What exactly are you calling me? But again, you have to listen to the tone of voice, the intonation, the conversation. You have to know the context. Um, Something that you may hear a lot, especially in the Canary Islands, that I promise you is not offensive in any way, shape, or form, is when they use the diminutive. So diminutive is when you make something smaller. So in Spanish, for example, if I said gordo, which is fat, if I wanted to make it smaller, I would say gordito. Or you hear people say negro, they'll say negrito. And, mulato, mulatito. These types of things, it makes it more sweet, and it's never in any context that I've seen it has never been used to make someone feel uncomfortable or to be offensive. It's actually been the exact opposite. So when you hear someone use a diminutive, they're actually trying to be sweet with you. I would say the last thing to add that I don't think you would find offensive, maybe, I don't know, so I have to add it in here, is the word giddy. Okay, giddy is Spain's version of gringo, and I'm sure if you're American you've heard gringo many times, but in Spain they don't say gringo, they say giddy, and it's usually to refer to a foreigner. But I've talked to many people, and some people referred to me as giddy. Other people said, no, you're not giddy, because to a lot of people, giddy is really a white person from Northern Europe or maybe the United States. And they have this stereotypical view of what a giddy is. And it's like someone that wears long socks with sandals and is blonde or blue eyes. But technically speaking, it refers to a foreigner, and that's it. When I say giddy, a lot of my Spanish friends laugh because they're like, oh, but you're giddy. And then someone will always say, no, he's not giddy, and things like that. But it's never been used, from what I've seen, it's never been used to offend anyone. It just meant a foreigner. But there is what they would call a stereotypical giddy, which is what I described. All right, so that is all I have for this video. I just wanted to let you guys know this in case you come to Spain. You can prepare yourself, you know what I mean? Brace yourself. Oh, one other thing I forgot to add that's offensive to us, and that would be blackface. And I actually did a video on this. If you haven't seen it, you can check that out. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but yeah, the video has all the information, and I shared my experiences and things like that. So you can check that out if you like. But other than that, this is all the things I can think of. So, if you hear these things, just try to understand the context first. And once you understand the culture more, you'll be able to come out of your cultural bubble and understand, the other culture a lot more. All right. Well, I will see you in my next video. I think I've rambled enough about this subject. Take care, and yeah, hasta luego. Ciao.